one of the most incredible U-turns in intellectual history. We're talking about Abu Hamid Al-Ghazali.
Right. In the 11th century in Baghdad, this man is, well, he's a superstar. They call him the Proof of Islam.
He's advising caliphs,
Yeah.
running the top university in the world, teaching hundreds. He has it all.
Yeah.
Tenure, wealth, power.
And he just quits.
Walks away from everything.
It's the ultimate academic mic drop. He vanishes for a decade to live as a wandering ascetic. But the sources we have, especially his autobiography, Deliverance from Error, they show why.
And what he built from it. He somehow managed to reconcile the very rigid legalistic side of Islam with the very fluid mystical experience of the Sufis.
And that whole journey, you can almost trace it back to this one story from when he was younger. It's a great anecdote.
Oh, the one with the bandits?
Yeah.
He's traveling in a caravan with all his notebooks. I mean, literally his entire education on paper.
And they get robbed. And Al-Ghazali, he actually runs after the bandit chief, begging for his notes back. He says, please, that's my knowledge. Without those, I have nothing.
And the robber just laughs at him.
He says, how can you claim to possess knowledge if I can just steal it from you? What a line.
It's brutal,
Mm-hmm.
but it really gets at the difference between just having information and actually knowing something.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be inside you.
Exactly. And that seed of doubt, it just grows. Years later, in 1095, he's at the absolute peak of his career, and he has a complete breakdown.
He looks at his life and realizes it's all about status. It's not about God. It's about the applause.
And it's not just, burnout. The sources say it was a full psychosomatic crisis. His tongue literally became paralyzed. He physically couldn't speak to give his lectures.
Right.
He knew he was living a lie, teaching religion, but just chasing fame. So he arranges for his family's care, gives away his wealth, and just disappears.
And that's when he ends up wandering.
Yeah.
Right at Damascus, Jerusalem.
Yeah, sweeping floors in mosques, meditating. And this is where he enters this period of radical skepticism.
Right, and deliverance from error. He starts with the senses. He uses that great example of a star. You look up, it looks like a small coin.
But math, geometry, proves it's bigger than the entire Earth.
So your senses are unreliable. They can deceive you.
But then he takes it a step further. If your senses can fail, what about reason? What about logic? It's built on axioms you have to accept on faith. Can you really trust it?
So he's deconstructed his entire toolbox. He was a master of kalam, of rational theology, and now he's saying it has limits.
Serious limits. You cannot think your way to God. He says true certainty, he calls it yakin, doesn't come from logic. It's a light that God casts into the heart.
It's intuitive.
It is. He uses the analogy of being drunk. You can read the medical definition of intoxication, know all the chemistry.
But that's not the same as experiencing it. The difference between knowing and tasting.
That's the one. And that's what drew him to the Sufis. They weren't just talking about spiritual states. They were living them. They were tasting the wine.
But he couldn't just leave it at that. He was still a scholar at heart. He had to build a system out of it.
Which is where he comes up with this incredible metaphor for the soul. He calls it the kingdom of the self.
Okay, so what's the setup?
So you have the king, which is your intellect, your equal, and the king's capital city is the heart, the kolb.
And the heart has to be kept clean, right? Like a mirror.
Exactly. If it's polished, it can reflect divine truth. But there's an enemy in the kingdom. There's a constant rebellion led by the nafs, the ego.
The part of you driven by animal urges, anger, greed, power.
Right. And the whole internal struggle is the king, the intellect, trying to stop the ego from taking over the kingdom.
And the battle plan for that war. That's his masterpiece,
The revival of the religious sciences, 40 books he wrote during his time as a wanderer, and its genius is how it marries the outer and the inner.
He doesn't say forget the rules, forget the rituals.
No, not at all. He says the rituals, prayer, fasting, all of it, that's the discipline you need to polish the mirror of the heart.
So the physical act of prayer is necessary.
But without the inner focus, without the heart being present, it's just an empty gesture, a corpse, he calls it. He put the soul back into the law.
And in doing so, he basically saved Sufism from being seen as a heresy and brought it into mainstream Sunni Islam. An incredible synthesis.
He showed that reason has its limits, but the heart needs discipline.
There's one last idea from the Ihya I want to leave everyone with. He makes a distinction between praiseworthy knowledge and blameworthy knowledge.
A really challenging idea.
It is. Praiseworthy knowledge is anything that actually improves you, that polishes your soul. Blameworthy knowledge is anything you learn just for status or to win arguments or for worldly gain.
It makes you take a hard look at why you learn things.
It really does. I mean, we live in an information economy. We're constantly consuming facts, headlines, even deep dives like this one, it's worth asking, is this knowledge changing who I am? Or is it just filling a notebook that a bandit could steal? Thanks for listening.